podcast of another great installment of Bullpen. Friends over at and Grappling. How you guys? I mean, that's great, but I decided you guys. It is all week. Tuesday we do a show all the way. I'm getting the show after the day. Both Kings beat. I can and him. How are
look, you're the hardest man, AJ. Hard and miles at friend. What a great app to be.
Because when I start thinking about doubt doing art, because just yeah, well, get your long time. But the question is that I can give to our yeah, it's a little bit of a lot here. There's been stuff for Jeff.
The season, I call the and there's the happening on a stronger team is now and a in will team happening is and there Thompson has wrecked their complete huge stuff.
The multiple hours on bossy this on the twisters crash. Yeah. Feeling so okay. So keep it can be well where on that see
You know me. People take a company and they ever and up at the corner logo, like, but it's like a you whatever. And we do huge ring love and I think makes the this price now aboard. I don't kind of reason yeah under we're gonna do what right GF and some come out and feel some about we saw action. There's my this work if hey right this is happening it is the play to turn for this if you're to the
This pack put there. And me like beat about do it does through the it's okay because you don't have to know that a big I have experienced things to me. I why when they do on the a bit of and I don't get where we get into this stumbled I think
I like
is want to read it. They did for all our so I had to say other friends. And most of you guys are students week we did all the on like partner and I you to talk you using you to some high now. All right. So for this, Tim, what were your thoughts? Well, actually, let's not do that one on this yet. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We're going to go straight to choosing that match with Jet Thompson. I'm sorry, Jet Thompson and Officer Grimy. That'll be the one that we begin with here.
yes sir the lovely Stephen Ian.
Who, by the way, wrote in here and said, "Watch out, Tom." So I
Yeah, I
couldn't
think he
tell
meant
if that
Tim.
was at you or
Oh,
Tom
sure
from
it was.
MySpace.
Again, it's the you got to watch out for the Southern boys. That's what got him. Oh, I'm going to get up on my keyboard. He felt that keyboard warrior spirit. It raised up in him. All right, so here we go. Jet Thompson, just he looks bigger and he carries himself a little more manly, for lack of a better word. Now he immediately sits down, right? And if you watch, he does a real nice job of just taking the space away. Immediately he's on Officer Grimy and he cuts an angle and he just keeps taking space away. He'd like to get that shotgun armbar. Thinks about the legs and he's like, nah, I'll settle for the back. And he stuffs the escape attempt right there. That is the pivotal part of the match when Jet stuffs him like a turducken. It's the beginning of the end here. And I got to say, Officer Grimy did a really nice job of trying to stay in it. It wasn't like he was doing nothing, right? He was rolling and spinning, but once Jet gets on your back, it's going to be a real long day. And Officer Grimy manages to shake him a little bit at the nice clean and almost came. These kids, though, man, you're never safe with them. Never safe. And here we got Anthony Gojani and Matt Mash. And Gojani does a real nice job of sliding to the back from his closed guard, body triangle in. And it used to be considered rude. When I started training, if you choked like right over a dude's mouth, that was maybe grounds for throwing some blows. But now that's totally acceptable. Anything below the nose is where it goes. And Gojani put a mask on Matt Mash. And, Mash did his best. Look, there's no wall to go prop him up against. He's not in an octagon. So he's got to carry. At a certain point, you could tell he just goes, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to go eat a PB&J and watch Sports Center. Like, this is too much. And he taps, and Gojani's got to be good. Look, Gojani jiu-jitsu, he hasn't put up gigantic numbers, but it's got to feel good to get a nice win like that. It's got to be a confidence builder. And where's he at in the scoring board, man? I think he's
just right out of it.
He's number 8. Yeah, he's at 8, so he's right in the hunt, man. Really nice job with the subs at the PGF in week 3. And these are just, what were deemed the top 5. There's a whole slew of other subs that took place.
Those being the top 5, they have some up then. So quickly of that, even who's that minute good look over is this. I think now we look at players this or main or playoff. So guys, for your idea, but out we
but the out for Padel said 20 into the this do I be it because no and then for 11 don't think that the third or strong. It might be them to they're certainly got that team. They're better to be one. So of course, it's out. Each other. That's honest. Another, but three, man.
Way that we have do go here and you
Fat in on all our social. If you're on social, I want to just shout at myself this weekend. So I got one through the gate. Hey, let's go. Now I got one more. I gotta, and then I could just be like, I'm retired from being a dad. Whatever you do now, that's on you. You just jam them through the machine, dude. Like, get your ass to school.
Tell you this, that is when there's close to him, there's not much they're at software. Right, group are good. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we'll see you back to for our show.
Job, man, you're killing it.
All right, heading out and taking the main so for this for the rest of the show. But I will take questions, comments, your concerns. Let's put it back on our shot clock. What's happening for us is things to talk about. Talk about this. This is but it Caio Terra had his academy, but now this is because in the mix of all the different things that we see on the internet, we're always looking at people as competitors, and sometimes you're rooting for or against other people. This is one that I feel like we all come together. Article that comes out of or on whatever it is, but did that the 4 report, yes, it does look like there were the on part of the street did not report good a crash academy 4:03 p.m. on Sunday. So I think years done with open mat, and no better time like the present to go into some academies, because for fees that's what you should do. I'm telling you, like, you see this happening for that academy, because this is not a small amount of damage. I'm saying this is approximately $50,000 worth of damage. So it did say that the hit and run driver remains at large. I thought I read somewhere that they had collected some information regarding and that they are currently looking at person. And the department driver involved separate collision with another vehicle prior to location. So we send our best folks over Caio Terra. It's wild see what the matchups are. We see a member of the jiu-jitsu having a moment like it was, but today a truck ran a stop sign but crashed in studio. But here's the unsurprising part. Even after dealing with the crash less than 24 hours ago at time of press, right? Caio Terra Academy was open for training on Monday. So even though there is a giant academy, that is how about business they are. They go, sorry guys, I thought you were. We got drills to do, so y'all better be back. So our best to Caio Terra Academy, folks. Terrible thing to read, and yeah, when they thousand, my heart kind of said. Then you think logically, and you go, somebody runs in. I mean, that really go up quickly, but just terrible to read. So, you keep one pop up. People with recently, we have seen Roger Gracie has been making. Now, Roger Gracie, our GOAT, one of the best of all time, a person who also made his way into the MMA world. He posed interesting sort of thought, and I'm not sure where you fall on this one, but I don't think a lot of us are far off. Roger Gracie was basically saying in an interview recently that no-gi is a young man's game. Not gonna lie, I mean, he's not base here. But the goes on to quote him, is a lot more technical. No-gi is a young man. It's a game, and you use more energy, more power. If you're young and strong, it adds a lot to your game naturally. I disagree with this. This GOAT is not that far off in this sort of statement. He goes on to state, it's so much harder to control someone because you don't have a grip. The person is always loose in front of you, and so his explosion will him away from a lot of situations. I mean, a lot of this have this anecdotally. When you get a new student in, anytime you get a wrestler, they're always going to have explosive energy. Some people call it spaz. Some kind of just this frantic sort of movement. But for that case, the GOAT makes an interesting case, but I don't want to concede this fully for our gi people. I believe is the more technical version of this, but we do say one that's going to get variety and the one that everybody was on making their super fun really no-gi. Having that, I would love to see maybe somebody put some more his name, because my man Stephen Aiken was always understood. I think it's what we've come to say it as, a lot of us in these circles, but the difference is none of us are the GOAT saying, like this show, okay, when the guest is telling you this, feel it either hit a critical mass or he agrees with it, he's out from his perspective of success in both. What he does say, that doesn't happen because you hold the, he doesn't have the mobility, load out of situations. He cannot just pull out. That grip will hold him where he is. Sure. So he back, run with that gi top, a lot of versatility to it. So I'm intrigued to see we put here to people. But there's another thing that's happening, and really to me, I want to say BJJ Doc that put up in a row that was like Marcelo Garcia says, strength training is bad. This person's strength bad. I'm sending this to my ass. All my jiu-jitsu heroes are trying to tell me I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't be doing S&C right now. But Roger Gracie said in a recent, well, he had to change his whole weightlifting approach because it had adverse effects on jiu-jitsu. And I feel like it's quick to weigh in here, but before any of you weigh in on this, I'd like to say this. Can we see those workouts? Because one of the benefits I have from, and maybe I'm spoiled spoiled is I say I do want to increase my strength training, but I want it to be practical to my jiu-jitsu. So fortunately, I've left him as the man, and he gets stuff that I try to just strengthen the overall like body so that I can do stuff forever and be on the mats forever, which is a stated goal of mine. So just thought I would put that out there for you guys. Let's talk about this. The next segment we move to is charity. Okay. Now, this is interesting to me because you've got Mika Galvo, who recently said interested in taking on Nicholas Miragali for charity. I think a lot of us would be into. I just wonder why we have to go the charity route. Because for me, why can't we just have this as is? Like, I don't know that we need to make this out charity, but okay, here's the kind of context behind it. So, nothing personal, just business. If you don't fight for money, and neither do I, okay, so let's give the public what they want to see. We do this fight in Brazil in a stadium. Okay. With the spirit. What's the value of the fight? For an NGO, those who really need it. The invitation has been made. So, I think this is interesting in that, yeah, Gali recently put a post saying he has very little facing Galvo. That might be from it. He's also not been active since his shoulder surgery. But, like, on paper, why can't we just make that match happen? Like, I get that we say it's not about money, but do you guys recognize that when you say it's not about money, it becomes harder to make those matches happen elsewhere? And, like, we're such a unique sport that you never see Tom Brady say, I'm going to meet you at week 18, and the winner of this has to donate to charity. Because they like, nobody gives them any shit for enjoying the fruits of their labor. It's just a weird contextual thing that Miragali uses probably to sideswipe any kind of want to get into a match. He thinks he's on a level that's higher than Mika. Maybe he's afraid that if Mika takes him down, it's hard to maintain his price or his rate. I don't know what the issue is. I'm just speculating here. This is some random stuff I'm spitting because I'm trying to find reason why we have it for charity and not just for sport. And it shouldn't be bad if they make some money off of it. You know what? Here's the new rule. If you guys don't want the money, give it to me. I will take the money for you. We can make the Grappling Hour a nonprofit. We can do that. I think we can adjust them. I'll call my tax. I guess what I'm saying to you is, make it this difficult. He wants it. He doesn't really want it. Persuade them. And if there's no money, it just feels like the secondary resource for this is, well, how about for charity? So we want to remind everybody that, yes, as things start to develop, Craig Jones Invitational Dose is happening at the end of this month. It is that month now. Really into the throngs of the actual promotion for this. We're very excited about it. I hope you guys are too. Has been doing a video per day talking about specific athletes that will be on the card. And it's been a lot of comedy. And I have to say, for somebody who's notoriously not a hard worker, it's fun to see Craig have to do a video per person. Like, you know, in his head, he's like, oh man, wouldn't it be funny if I did this one video per person? And then right now, I'm at the halfway point going like, how many more of these do I have to do? Can I just phone them in? Can AI regenerate me to do one per person? But I wanted to applaud the efforts by Chris and most Anthony, who's probably doing all the work, to do these videos and get them out one by one per day. I think it's brought some great attention to all the athletes. There's some lightheartedness and some fun. And there's a little bit of this, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but is there an appeal to less sort of on these videos. They're all being done by the phone, so that's not the issue. But like most events, when they go out of their way to say the most important that's ever existed, they spend money getting people to actually produce that and come up with really, really fun and good things creatively, and then pay them to actually edit it. This does not seem like a ton of editing, and yet there's a charm to it. And I wonder, would other people have that good faith, or is it just for Craig? Because I think Craig has really earned that right in being funny and silly, and that has definitely gone a long way. But it begs the larger question, is that what you want? And would you accept it if Polaris just said, take away all the pomp and circumstance? What if it was just Matt going out there and saying like, hey, you guys like this dude? This dude's going to get deported by ICE, or he's going to fight at the next 20 this Saturday. Would you accept it, or do you like the standard go-to promotions? Because I'll tell you one thing. If you like the cheaper version, message heard, but something to consider as we continue and move our way throughout. One thing I do want to make sure as we start to round the bases here, guys, is that yes, we're going to do our segment where we did replay earlier with Tim. Normally we do a fight of the week, change it to some matches. I thought I would put it to you guys have quests. I'll be happy to watch along a match or two with you. But I switched to that board. What I would like to say is some of the stuff that I have picked is some highlighted actually with some down highlights, because I thought that was pretty cool. We're seeing money bags for takedowns. So that's got me thinking, is this something that we are waiting to see more and more from our world in grappling? So let's go ahead and take this one off. So just keep that in mind when you're wondering why somebody else got a money bag and you didn't. And this extends to the people who have gotten money bags. It shows you have the jiu-jitsu that's capable of it, and that if you want to see those things continue to go, you really just got to put out the best jiu-jitsu you've got and let the chips fall where they may. Having said that, there's only so many money bags that they do give out per season. So we're told. So try to have really high impactful stuff. And maybe, just maybe, you will be one of those people who takes home a money bag. All right, I'm going to pull a couple highlights here from some matches. The first is going to be the Anthony Gojani highlight, because John Chandler was having great matches all night. These were getting the people on their feet. And right here, you thought that Gojani was about to put away John Chandler. This was a make or break week for both of these young men, because they really wanted to get out there and make a statement. For Gojani, it was about a respect. And for Chandler, it was really being able to put on the spectacular performances that he has. Even under duress here makes it exciting, because you feel for him. You wonder, can he get out of this bad position? You see that clock eaten up that entire time, and there's not an ounce of quit in John Chandler here. Having said that, Gojani looking real sharp all the way through, and some of us thought in this particular moment that might be where Gojani was going to get him, and instead Chandler just kept finding a way to fight out all the way throughout. So props to Gojani for that one. We're going to move now to some other highlights. This is going to be another individual who got some respect this week, and this is going to be props to Juan Martinez. Juan really has not gotten a ton of respect for his game. I got the chance to roll with him this week, and I can tell you up close, this young man has a very good, complex game. And right here, getting a quick tap on Nick Saff. So watch. As Nick has this grip around his leg, Juan very aptly reads it when he says, all right, if he's going to attack my leg and I have this, I've got an outside shot on this heel hook. And when he falls back for it, it's like understanding somebody is going to attack you If you can make the first move, you got a shot here. Now, watching it in slow motion, Juan pushes that down, keeps the separation for himself, but watch this. This is my favorite part here. As he pushes the leg down, a lot of the times you're going to need both knees to pinch in to create that pressure. Doesn't mean it always has to go that way, but traditionally, if you have some sort of fulcrum, you can create a breaking point. By pushing down on that leg, he gives himself some temporary relief from that as he's going to make his move to sit back on his right hip. And as he gets there, he's got it already by the time he's seated. So again, just watching right here, it all happens so fluidly and so smoothly that when he does execute this finish, you think, oh man, he might get bumped down. He might get swept. His leg is in danger here. He sees it as an opportunity, pushes down, gets the space, finds that outside heel, and then just, as we said with Matt Mash during our interview this week, he sends it. So big props to Juan. I'm hard-pressed to think of somebody who deserves more recognition. He's kind of quiet. He doesn't talk a bunch of trash. That's not really his style. But there's a method to his madness. I really like his game, and just getting to see him have a great moment was a really, really cool addition for the season thus far. So big ups to Juan for that moment. And I mean, if we're talking about all these different things, I feel like it might not be a bad moment to also give some props again. I'd love to watch this one more time because Tim got to take a stab at it. But this is the match, the highlights of the match between Officer Grimy and our good friend, Jett Thompson. So Officer Grimy gets the call after there is an injury where we weren't quite sure if he was going to come in. Jett Thompson, there was a lot working against him on this week. He was up against the wall, was only getting small points, like just from these disqualifications. But it's because he's been so dominant that he's gotten some of his opponents to DQs. He's just not finishing in that position. The wildest part to me about that is, though, he has an incredible back control. I know. I got to experience it. Not fun. But in the PGF, you got to get it done in order to get those points. And right here, right away, this guard goes to work. And look at this sweep that happens. From here, he's basically looking to underhook the leg, comes out the backside, and then basically says, magic, I have a back take here. So let's look at this again. Most people are going to be looking for the sweep so aggressively that they commit to just trying to rock them over. But the genius of what Jett is doing here is he recognizes I can move myself if I keep them in the same place. Easier said than done, because if you're just in this position, think about the logic you need to be able to get somebody's back from here. And then just watch the correction and the adjustment that happens. So from here, instead of spiraling where you get into some funky kind of makeshift variation of a donkey guard or reverse anything, you're going to see him almost breakdance on his head to find the angle to keep the body lock and then roll straight into it. Let's look at it one more time just to appreciate the art of what Jett is doing here. So right up top, and again, let's take it from here. This guard pull, active guard, now collapses all into a closed guard. Now, Grimy's arm is trapped right there. And that is a strong grip. Grimy gets it back in, thinks he's maybe got a second or two here to play, playing into that guard, and Jett goes straight to work. Look at how long it takes for him to finish this sequence, though. Here. Most people are going to continue going that direction. Jett, when he turns, makes a beautiful read, holds that foot, and finds his angle to that back right there. And then immediately starts shooting for that choke. And this is kind of the better part of kind of the beginning of the end for Officer Grimy, because he's doing everything to make movement to try and get out of it, but Jet is just on him. And at this point, Jet couldn't be denied. This was the time that Jet really realized that there has been talk. Is he that guy? Is he the guy who deserves to be number one? Is he points per value being the number one pick? And watch how he responds. He says, Officer Grimy, I hope you don't care too much about your knees because stretch. Yikes. That was a moment audibly right here. I want to tell you this. This moment, let me just advance right here. The bend on the knee, he lifts it up right in time, but to me, that's enough where I don't walk for a day or two. A little sore after that one. Officer Grimy looks to see if the couch can maybe give him some help here. And then I love this because for a split second, Grimy could see the outside world. And this is Jet Thompson using the extension of the arms and climbing his way once again to the back. And again, I want to reemphasize something. As somebody who, when I rolled with Jet, I could see the skill that he has for his back take. This is a dude who has incredible back retention. You don't need me to tell you that. You've seen his matches. He's gotten DQs for people with that stellar back control. So while it might not be points for your fantasy team, unless you're playing on PGF World, just look at this. Watch. Most people lose it right here. He shifts on over to that kind of head and arm. Grimy looks for an escape. As Jet rolls, he still has this kind of makeshift thing that sometimes you do in rolls to kind of bullshit get a tap. But he doesn't stay there. He uses it to kind of hold him in place while he adjusts his body more over that back, exerts the control, gets his hips back up and over for a more traditional back control with that almost Rotolotine-like grip. It's a work of art, guys. Like, Grimy is not easy to submit either. Watching stuff like that, it should remind you that there is a rationale behind him being the number one pick. And there's a big question now, which is, are we seeing the momentum turn in Jet's favor? Sometimes it just takes one match to find your way back in. I'm going to argue right now, Jet might be feeling it. Do not count him out, because the one thing that happens when we're done with this whole season and the team element is done is if he makes it to the playoffs, it is a single elimination tournament of 8. If you don't get out of somebody's back control, you don't advance. You got to be able to submit him. And we really, really aren't seeing people do that. So you got to ask yourself, if you're out there writing off Jet Thompson, and maybe he takes somebody to overtime, are you confident that he still isn't a player for that playoff? Food for thought. Thanks for playing along with that one, you guys. I mean, I feel like these are fun segments. I hope you guys like it. If you do, tell us in the chat. Tell us in the comment section. We've been having a blast doing these, and we thank our friends over at the PGF for allowing us to use this footage, because one of the reasons we don't do this segment elsewhere is, you know, people are in their feels. They don't like you to use footage like this, but the good folks over at the PGF have been very kind about letting us do these footage reviews. So big thanks and appreciation for that. All right, friends. I think that's about it for this week. We have so much more to get to for next week, and I have some highlights and footage and some reels I've got to go ahead. But I will say this. Week 3 told the beginning of next week, when we start hearing, it could get dicey. And I pose this. Is everybody on a team currently who is on the injured reserve going to stay on the injured reserve? Or do they become new members of the team? It looks like Team Dolomer is feeling pretty good about their team. So the question is the injury for Brady going to be problematic for that team? Are they going to bring in somebody else? How does that work for them? And For Brady in particular, he stayed out one match that night. So by the rules, he has to stay at least 2 more this coming Wednesday. So for Brady Brandstrom, that happened there. For Brady Hilton, where does he go? What happens with him with his team? Because you get the sense now, Sergio, Dom also getting 13 points. Or I think it's at least 12 with the 2 kills. I don't know. And now we're starting to look at playoff contention, and Dom will be right in that playoff contention. So there are a lot of questions. I think Monday is going to be a big, big question day. So that is why on Tuesday, when you come back to our pre-show that we record live here, hopefully we'll have some new breaking news for you guys. I don't know if we will know everything, but we will do this to whatever new information we have. In addition to that, we'll go down the match-by-match playlist of who, what, where, when, and why. And I have to give us some props. The matches that we told you were going to be bangers kind of turned out to be banger matches. So we'll give you an update on those. We'll give you an update on our fantasy team and much, much more. But I will tell you guys this right now. If you enjoy the show, it would mean a lot to me if wherever you're watching it, a like, a comment, a subscribe, it goes a long way for us here at the show. It really does mean a lot. And if you want to support me, I would love it if you guys could go on over to patreon.com/grappling hour. If you go there, just give me some love, give me some support. Just for $5 a month, you can basically help support this show and show your boy Raph that you love. You get 4 interviews per month. And if you give me just a few extra dollars more per month, you get some extra bonus content that's not available anywhere else. So it means a lot to me. All right, friends. I think that's going to do it for us here. And my thanks to you. My thanks to Tim. And guys, we still have 2 more weeks of regular action of PGF. And then there's 1 more week of playoffs. So we're at about the halfway point now. So to the athletes, thank you for a great season so far. Job's not done. Job's not finished. Get out there. And we thank you very much. But in the meantime, ladies and gents, on behalf of all of us here at the Bullpen, thank you so much for watching. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.